just slightly more professional. Is that how this goes?
And it's not 7 hours long.
No, that's true.
It's going to be about 2. So
This podcast is terrible. I don't know why I come back every week.
Now that we got that out of the way.
we live, motherfucker. I see some people in the chat, but it's showing zero viewers for some reason. But
yeah, it usually takes a second to update.
Oh yeah, Retrodesk gonna want the live chat link.
Oh, I was just fucking.
Why? I understand. Why
How did I know?
Because some people like talking to the subscribers. As
I know how fucking
how dare Retro
subscribers? Who are they?
Interactions. You're just like talking to us.
One of these days. I mean, I don't mind sharing the link. I already have it open. So, but I saw the 3 dots of retro typing, and I knew that's what it was.
Beat him to it.
You should have known better.
Subscribers, what the fuck is that? I don't understand. How does this work?
So, yeah, we got some stuff to talk about. And one of those things we're not going to talk about is, or all the things we're going to talk about, the Nindy Direct is, I don't think it's going to be one of them. So,
yeah, there's not enough value.
So, I'm going to start. Well, Retrodeath, you checked out the Resident Evil 2 demo.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to give my impressions of the actual game. But why don't you go ahead and just give quick thoughts on the Resident Evil 2 one-shot demo.
At first, like, you posted this screenshot, you know, that reminded me. I was like, okay, before the podcast, I want to play the demo too, because I thought you played the demo. And I started the demo, and I was like, God damn it, I don't want to play as Leon. I wanted to see that ass in full HD and shit, you know. I started playing this, and I was seriously, like, surprised at how good it looks. First of all, like the facial animations and everything, like the characters, like everything looks so good. And the demo is just like the start of Leon entering the police station and shit. And I went into like this alley, and I had to readjust the lighting a couple of times because what they told me to do kind of made it kind of bright, so I readjusted that. And man, the lighting and everything, it's so good. Like I think you said this in the chat, I don't know, like it is like a perfect mix, like between like Resident Evil 4, like that gameplay system with like the feeling of actual Resident Evil. Is like I'm playing this, I turned all my lights off and shit. I was getting into this.
I did the same.
Yeah, it's like like with the flashlight and everything, and it's like it has like, even though I played the game already, you know, it still gives me this eerie, like scary kind of feeling. You're sitting there, like it's tense and everything, you know, and like they don't use like jump scare shit or anything. It's just fucking scary. You see like this zombie like in the background and everything, you know, and it just looks so good. Like it feels like, at least so far from what I've played in the demo, like every single zombie is like a unique created zombie. Like they all have like different like problems and shit. Like at one point you see a cutscene and there's this dead guy on the floor, and like his jaw is all ripped open and shit. And like you have this cop and you save him, and the dude gets like half, and you see this camera shot with like all his guts falling out and everything. It is so gory and detailed, and it's so satisfying. It's so good, and like it plays smooth and it looks amazing, and it's exactly what I feel at this point the Resident Evil should be. Like, man, I love playing that. I was just disappointed because it was called the one-shot demo. So in my head, I have like one life and I can just play it, you know, like until I die. And then at one point, like I was going into this doorway, you know, I have all this ammo, I have my shotgun ready, 4 bullets, you know, I'm halfway dead. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start this shit. And then bam, the demo ended. Like, thank you for playing. I was like, no, you piece of shit.
Yeah, there's 2 ways for the demo.
Getting the full game. It's seriously, it's amazing.
Yeah, there's 2 ways the demo ends. Either the time runs out, or you go to talk to this cop again, and then it ends the demo. So I tried it on PC and PS4, and the first time I just went till the time ran out. Second time I was pushing ahead and got to that. So yeah, glad to hear you say that, because I know sometimes your opinions and mine don't line up, but this time definitely line up. And
yeah, it's like all the fucking time. Now it goes from 100% to 99%. Good job.
But I don't know. For me personally, my favorite Resident Evil game was Resident Evil 4, even though it definitely was the first kind of big departure, and that led to 5 and 6, and then 7. I don't even know what they were thinking, but wow. So Resident Evil 4 is my favorite. My second favorite was the Resident Evil remake on the GameCube. Of which that was like the perfect blend of still using the pre-rendered backgrounds, but with, you know, the GameCube and the lighting engine, and that just really sold that game. I mean, it's I was watching, and I don't know if it was a PS4 version or something, but somebody somewhere I saw a clip, and they were talking about the history of Resident Evil, and they showed like you're walking away from the camera, and this like candlestick with these lit candles was like in the foreground, and whether it was the GameCube version or the character model kind of looked like it, and I was like, damn, I forgot about the lighting they added to that game. So that's my second favorite. After that, it's probably Code Veronica, which I only played through one time, and I honestly don't remember much about the story. I think Claire was the main character, if I'm not mistaken.
And Veronica?
Yeah. So
you don't remember anything?
It's been a long time. I just know I enjoyed it.
He blacked out. He forgot.
The rest of them, I haven't owned any others. So I guess my three favorite are the three I owned. And but my history has always been, I've always played most of them. I didn't play 3, and Revelations 1 and 2, I guess, are okay. But anyway, I think Resident Evil 2, I probably have between 6 and 8 hours. I don't know the exact amount. It's easily my new favorite Resident Evil game. Like, it's just like Retro Death said, it is so good in every single way. Like, the only flaw that I've come, like, I was really paying attention. Like, what don't I like? They took away if your inventory is full and you pick up a green herb, you can't use it. Like, if you need health, you can't use it. You have to
put it in your inventory.
You have to find clear a slot. I'm like, that's a weird change to go back to, because that made sense. If you need to use it,
just hold it in your hand and use it.
Let me pick it up and use it. So that's really the only negative I've come up with.
I have one negative point as well, then, that I instantly want to just swoop in here, because like you said, I couldn't find anything wrong with it. Like the lighting and everything is perfect. Like, even the fact that all the zombies were like that unique. Like, you had this like fucking fat guy zombie that was fucking like fighting with like the vending machine and shit. Like, everything was just so good and unique and everything. I have one problem with this, and I think this is like an N64 kind of thing, and this day and age, like, that should not be allowed at one point, and just once it happened. Well, because I like looking at backgrounds, you know, like, especially in this game, it's so atmospheric and good. There was this table, and there were 6 pieces of paper on that table. There were like 2 piles of 3 pieces of paper, and like, the text on this was not actually text. Okay, that I can still accept it. But these papers were just obviously like super cheap copies of each other. It's like, come on, just like, you could easily have like
shit right there.
No, but that's what I mean. That's literally the only complaint I could find, because I pay attention to all the small little details, and this was obviously not done because it had to be the same kind of paper. It was obviously a cheap copy paste thing, but it was only at one spot, because everywhere else you didn't have that, and so there's obviously at that point it jumps to your eye, you know.
There's some like what do you call them, the pin boards with like documents and news clippings. Like, you can't, it's not legible. It's not legible.
Well, see, I played the demo too.
And, did you? Cool.
Yeah, I have. I mean, the game, like you said, it kind of surprised me about how good it was and how much it felt like playing, traditional old school Resident Evil. It kind of mired, or kind of bridged them together pretty well, like the Resident Evil 4 with the Resident Evil 1 through 3 style, which I thought was really well done. My main issue, it's my only issue with the game right now, is that I have to pay Capcom to play it. I'm not.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think Capcom had it in them to make this game, so. I guess, I mean, after 7 had some decent moments, but it just, I don't know, it's just more frustrating than anything for me.
So Juice, how does it feel? Like, so you're playing actually Resident Evil 2 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does it feel like kind of like RE4 or?
Yeah, it's a way smoother feeling. Like, the way the camera pans and the character moves, it's much more fluid, and the aiming is much more fluid. So it's just the evolution of Resident Evil 4, like from the camera angle and the you know, you the way you aim and stuff, but it feels so original Resident Evil in every other way. It's I don't know how they did it. Like,
it just seems right for them to do, because why not do it with another Leon game? Why not?
It's like, I know how they did it, because like I said, you know, I like Resident Evil 4 as a game, like the setting and everything, but to me that was the start when they made it shooters, because in Resident Evil 4 you got like hordes of zombies at the same time and you're just shooting everybody until they're dead. And this game, you have the walking mechanic and the shooting mechanic, but you got like one clip and you're going through like 5 hallways and you maybe see like 2 zombies and one of them uses like the whole clip to try and kill him, you know? So it's actually a horror survival again, and that's what they took away from Resident Evil 4 that I didn't like. It just didn't feel like a horror survival game anymore.
There was, I mean, in the early goings, that dude with the burlap sack and chainsaw, he was a pain.
It was still a lot of survival.
That was the stress. That was your what do you call that guy? Nemesis.
Nemesis, yeah.
And then you know, the bell would ring and then they'd all go away. You know, that was a cool moment for sure. Yeah. But this definitely, and I rented Resident Evil 2. I didn't even have a PlayStation. My buddy used to bring his PlayStation over because it was like my house was the go-to house for us gaming and stuff. He brought his PlayStation over. We rented Resident Evil 1 like 3 times till we beat it. And then when Resident Evil 2 came out, we rented it. And we probably only played for 4 or 5 hours. So I don't know story-wise how similar these are. I've seen a video just kind of quickly, the beginning, how there's some changes and stuff. So for me, this is like a new game. But even if I had played the original, this is more than your typical. This isn't like the tried and true. We want to make Shadow of the Colossus play just like the original. Have everything be identical except new visuals. Like it's still a remake. I know somebody on Twitter was trying to make it that something more than a remake, but it's definitely, they're filling in some, they're changing and adding stuff to the story and, you know, the setting. They're expanding it. It's not just trying to remake every scene frame for frame, you know, like, but with a 3D engine. So for me, it's like, it's a new game. And just to summarize, if this came out 26 days earlier, it would have been my 2018 game of the year easily.
Damn. Shit. And this is basically the remake for RE2, but with the Resident Evil 4 treatment, because it's not like 5, right? It feels more like 4.
No, it feels more like 4 in just the camera angle and the aiming. But as far as like the storytelling and cutscenes, it definitely. Well, it's hard to say it feels like Resident Evil because it's so well acted now. It's not
7, cheesy anymore.
7 was decent, but it's crazy that it still feels like Resident Evil, but the acting is so good, and that used to be a staple. How bad the acting used to be.
It's like I said, with the facial expressions and everything, like, man, it looks so good.
Yeah, and it's like,
I think that was a limitation back then anyway, because you're talking about 95, 96. So the acting would be cheesy, but the music and the action, like where you're playing, the atmospheric feeling that you get is realistic. Even though the graphics didn't really hold up to that.
Yeah, I mean, even back then,
for the time,
those graphics we thought were amazing and scary. This is, I don't know. There's just later on in the game, there's something that keeps you having to move around. You know, you can't stand still for too long, and it's like, it's not the whole game. It's just a portion of it, and it's just like, I don't know if that was in the original Resident Evil 2 or not, but it definitely added a cool element. And I mean, like I said, I can't believe Capcom made this game. Like, I was not expecting them to have. I didn't think they had the talent to make it. So, and it'll get a price drop, I'm sure, and relatively quick based on the other Resident Evil games, especially 7 dropped significantly, like $20 within the first few months. So, but I would say if you got PS4, Xbox One, or PC, it's a must buy in my opinion, especially if you like the series. And I do want to take this into a quick discussion. Well, I don't know how long. We don't know if this will be quick or long, but to me, a game like this, you know, a third-party multi-plat like this, and playing it, and I know with a lot of sacrifices, they could get it running on the Switch. I'm not saying it's not possible. It would, you know, be 30 frames and, you know, quality visuals and everything would be a big hit like we've seen with Wolfenstein, but it could be done.
You need a bigger cartridge.
But I couldn't, and it's not, I don't think the game's that big. I think it's only like 20 something gigs if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to double check. I don't think it was that large.
Anything
To be fair, I don't think it needs
pay for some reason.
I don't think it would need that many sacrifices, to be fair. It's just a lot of like light and shadow play, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Because it's a dark game, right?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
like you
judging-
said, it won't look as good, but like I think it's more like it's not like a Wolfenstein thing, but more like a Doom thing, where maybe some lighting is different, but I think it could still look really
I
good.
think
on
they'd
the
have to
Switch.
keep the lighting and just make like the same sacrifices they made, like super low resolution and texture quality.
Yeah.
But
Because
The
you can't
point
tell
I'm
in the
trying-
dark.
the point I'm trying to make is this is like when I can just look honestly at the situation and say, whatever the reason is, whether it's because it's the cartridge base or the Switch's power or whatever, it's this type of game that I really feel like, man, Nintendo system could really use this quality of a game, and it just, yeah, like I said, I know it could be made, but I'm thinking, if just for whatever reason, if Nintendo could have done just a little bit more with the Switch and these games could have been easier, I don't know, but it's the type of game that I'm feeling sorely missing on the Switch. Like we're getting a lot of third-party games that are a lot more than we're used to, but it's this type of game that I really wish should have been on the Switch, and for whatever reason, if the Switch was Nintendo just made a powerful console, it would be on there. So it's both parties are to blame, but I don't know if I'd want to play depending on how many what the sacrifices were and stuff. But it's definitely a great experience, and I just wish.
Would it be on there? That's not a guarantee. Just having Nintendo have a powerful console, though.
I mean, as far as technically speaking, I mean, you're talking 720p. Bring it down 720p. That more than halves the resources that you need.
No, I'm not even talking tech.
You're saying if it was,
Yeah.
that's a Nintendo tax and the Nintendo difference, I guess, where they're just like, oh well, we made a lot of money, but we don't want to put I don't understand.
We want to make sure it utilizes the Nintendo.
Yeah,
whatever.
Just port RE4 to PS2 and still nobody buys it.
Yeah. So just saying.
Yeah, I'm not a big third-party multiplayer guy, so I usually don't care. But it's like I don't care about the Call of Duty, the Battlefield's not being on there, just for my personal opinion.
I don't care at all.
But I'm just saying, a game.
Black Ops 2 was really good on Wii U.
It was.
Yeah, it was a good game.
But I got Black Ops 4 gifted to me, and I got like barely 12 hours. I haven't touched it in over a month, so that's just my personal taste. But
yeah.
It's a game like this, a really quality, where I mean, I would have bought it on the Switch if it came out and it was a good port. I would have bought the Switch version, I'm pretty sure. So it's just one of those games that really stood out to me. Like, man, sometimes it does suck not getting some of these games for whoever's responsible, whoever's to blame.
But multi-console and PC.
Well, how big
Let's
is
go?
How big is it? How big is the file?
Yeah, I'm downloading the demo as we speak.
Well, the demo was 7.
Demo was like 7 or 8 gigs. I think.
Yeah, it's
But
7 gigs.
I'm trying to think. I want to say it was between 20 and 30, but I don't know for 100%. I probably could look it up.
It's with the Switch you get in the 32 gigabyte cards.
Yeah, those, man. They are not ready for that shit yet.
Do we want to talk about that whole? I guess it's not really confirmed, but it's
confirmed. The number of YouTubers are talking about.
Though it's 21 gigs on Xbox One. So.
God, that's way smaller than I thought it was.
Smaller than I thought. Yeah.
That makes it even more impressive. Like, this is a different Capcom than I'm used to. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is strange.
They decided to be better for a little while, but T's like, I don't trust these bitches.
I gotta start backpedaling now.
Yeah.
T's over there in the corner like, you ain't gonna get me, and you ain't gonna fuck with my feelings like
See,
this.
just do like Black Bond and pretend you never said it.
That's reckless, yo.
Just be like, you know what? Capcom they're miracles with this compression. It's just wonderful, and they've always been doing this. It's great.
I mean,
you know what would be a true sell if Devil May Cry 5 comes out and that's really good. then it's gonna be like
That would be something.
And it's not
Oh,
90
you in the
gigs.
video,
That would be
R.
great.
Kelly? No, that wasn't
I
me.
keep playing. I
Oh.
keep forgetting about that demo.
But R. Kelly, we saw you in the video. No, that wasn't me.
Hey, so real quick for the chat, everybody press F for anybody that mentioned Switch Pro in the chat. Like, everybody just press F. Oh God, that is the topic that should not be mentioned.
I'm gonna talk about that next.
See, anytime they see a clickbait thumbnail of that.
Oh man, that thread, Jesus!
I know. Hey,
that took off.
Showing you that people are notice it and they're very annoyed by it.
Did you see the post that Twilight Bites posted also? Like people get salty and shit takes off because of salt.
What did he say? What did
he talked about how everybody was expecting certain characters to get into Smash. They're like, well, this happened, and everybody's complaining about Fire Emblem having so many characters or whatever, and all the Nintendo characters, a shitload of Nintendo characters, and so Fire Emblem characters in there, they're complaining, and then they want all these fucking extra Pokemon in and shit. And he's just, I mean, he basically exposed them all, and then like so many people got salty. That shit got retweeted and liked a whole bunch.
Yeah, the hypocrisy. Where people sat there and wanted more of certain franchises that were already overly represented. Like people wanted Waluigi, and even though the Mario series has a bunch of fucking reps. Yeah,
exactly.
And people wanted more Pokemon in, and they have a bunch of fucking reps. But there's too many fucking swordsmen over here.
That shit went crumb side viral. I guess that'll be the new term, crumb side viral.
Does that mean
we can put that one up? We're gonna make a music video, Mr. T.
Does that mean it became a piece of a cookie? Is that what that is implying?
That is what in the cookie?
I said, does that mean it became a piece of a cookie since it's high cheese?
Yeah. It's enough crumbs to form a piece of a cookie.
God dang it.
Like, I'm one of those people that always complained about the Fire Emblem characters in Smash. My problem isn't as much that there's like 7 or 8 of them. My problem is that there's 6 Marth clones basically.
Yeah, I think your issue is more that there aren't variety.
I don't think I played anything.
They're all Nintendo characters.
Robin's pretty different.
Robin plays nothing like any.
I mean, you have Robin that's different, and you have like Corrin that's very different. But I mean, you have like Marth, Lucina, and Chrom. That's all the exact same fucking character. I guess like basically a little bit the same as well. But I mean,
Chrom's more.
I mean, point arguing with this.
But with everything,
hashtag deal with the Crimea Hudson River. Moving on.
Exposed.
What's going on, man? You've been wilding this last week. What the fuck is happening?
We'll have a live debate. It's gonna be on the Shadowcast, like Mr. T versus the world. Like we're gonna.
Speaking of Smash Brothers, Terrell, myself, and Little Cray played, and I uploaded a couple gameplay or replays on my YouTube channel. So anyone wants to check that out.
Yeah, you misrepresented people. That's what you did.
Let's just say Incineroar is straight up broken right now. Terrell figured out something. And
go ahead.
The dude, his forward B, which is a grab, and then he throws you into the ropes and slams you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't shield it. You can't attack it. Like if you're in the middle of an attack, you're shielding in the middle of a smash attack. It grabs every single time in the air, on the ground.
How about what about King K Rules Crown shit?
That's just kind of trash too.
Also, I mean, he destroyed me so bad. I was Daisy, and I'm not the best with Daisy, but he destroyed me. He had 2 stocks. I was down to 1 stock, and I hadn't even touched him yet. It was Wario stage.
I thought it was
WarioWare. I switched to Zelda. Oh, you did do that to Zelda too.
Did you try a projectile though? Because I've been able to fend them off with just a little.
Eventually,
Juice ain't giving himself any credit. He figured it out. It took him a few matches, but he figured it out.
Okay.
Well, and then what really cemented like my frustration after we played random stages. It played the WarioWare Inc. stage twice in a row after he just destroyed me.
That's horrible.
So we're playing our rematch, and I did the thing, whatever we had to do. He didn't. My Zelda got big, so I was like moving to the right, and she covered more stage than I thought. So I got to the edge of the stage. I slipped off, so I quickly hit to the left, and she just kept going right, and then I hit my recovery like twice in a row, and she just kept going right and fell off and died. Like I don't know what happened. There was
just
some
give you a TLDR version of what I saw. I literally saw him jump down as a huge Zelda and walk off the fucking stage, and I was like,
and then I didn't fall straight down. I fell down and to the right and fell off in the bottom right corner.
Yeah, and I was like,
and I'm holding left and up.
And all I hear from Deuce is, "What the fuck?"
So you tried to teleport to get back on the stage?
It was unresponsive. It was
right after you hit up and B, whatever direction you hit after that, that's where she goes.
She did her little sassy walk and just walked her ass off the goddamn stage.
So I shut down the arena, rebooted my
Switch.
Rebooted his Switch. And I didn't have any problems after that.
My first question is does that count as a rage quit? Is that what that is?
You gotta get with Spawn Way to fix that drift on your controller.
Yeah, I think I got some drift.
Oh jeez.
There was more than just some drift. It was a weird moment, but I had to switch to some of my better characters.
It was bar none one of the funniest things.
It was. I mean, I was mad, but it was also like you had to laugh. But the one thing I've learned, and I wanted just in case anybody's watching this doesn't know, if you save your replay after a match, and then you go into the vault and you go to the replay, if you just watch that replay, you can pause it, move the camera around. But if you hit convert to video, then it. It's recording. So whatever you do with the camera, it's all recorded. And then it's just a video file at that point. And then you can take your micro SD card out, put it into your computer, copy them to your PC, and you can upload them to YouTube. I didn't realize this till like a couple days ago when I saw Nintendo Life's video. It makes so much sense. But I just didn't realize that convert to video was saving it in an MP4 on your micro SD, or if you have a micro SD, obviously. So yeah, I uploaded the quality is actually pretty decent, 720p, but it's 60 frames.
Yeah,
and I think the quality is really good. So
this is another example of smart, dumb Nintendo, where it's like, oh, cool, I can say MP4 on my fucking micro SD card and then upload them as video files, but I still can't message anybody.
Yeah, because at the time it was like Mario Kart 8 was sending shit directly to YouTube before any other console was.
Smash had that with clips, but this is like. The whole video, you convert it. It's a lengthy process because to convert, you just have to watch the replay and it records everything. So if you move the camera around, that it records what you've done. Like it's it doesn't just record the stock replay. So if you're pausing it and doing different things,
that's recorded.
It's all recorded into the video. But yeah, so I uploaded a couple clips just to see what the quality was like. Of course, I chose couple of the better finishes, and one was Zelda whooping Sonic's ass, and it was glorious. So, but yeah,
disrespectful as fuck, yo.
Hold on. So when did you start playing with Zelda though? Because you weren't playing with her at all.
First time he's always played with her.
But we didn't. You didn't play with her at all. We played those couple matches. I guess. Well, I don't know. I
don't. I play with like 15 characters. So
yeah. Okay.
Right now, I'm working on getting better with Daisy. Is like my priority, and then.
Yeah,
Daisy or Peach, and then like Palutena every once in a while, and
essentially Juice has gotten really good with projectile heavy characters. I've learned, which I think is partially due to his long experiences with Wii Fit. So he's just fucking. So he's sitting there, picked up Daisy. I feel like this man literally picked up Daisy and went, "Oh wow, this is great." And I was like, "God damn, how are you killing so quickly with this bitch?"
I learned Steel Fox taught me how to use because he was a Peach main for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Remember, I used Peach once, and I actually did really fucking good with it.
You said once, and that was
it was once, and I for some reason dominated.
He will never use her again.
So, no.
What was I gonna? What video?
You were gonna say you were the greatest YouTuber ever.
Oh, that yeah. I remember now. I'm gonna. It only got 22 views, but I'm gonna link this in the chat. There's a streak where I hit Terrell's Incineroar. Like I hit her little soccer ball, or whatever, spike it. Did it 5 times. In 5 times I hit Terrell. Like I had a nice streak of 5-0 where I hit you with every one, and then I missed a couple. It was just perfect, and it was. I find watching these replays, I didn't even realize sometimes I throw it out just to help me get back on the stage, and I don't even know if that it hit anybody. So I'm watching this replay, and I'm just watching, and I'm counting 5 times in a row. I'm hitting Terrell, and it was pretty cool. Usually it's Cray who's getting hit every time, but he gets a little mad.
Was he dead at that point?
At that point, no, he wasn't.
Okay.
But there was a cool moment where you grabbed. He was Isabel, and you're in Incineroar. You grab him, throw him against the ropes, and as he's coming back, I threw my Salute the Sun fully charged, and he was at like high damage, and I think I got the KO out of it. It was a cool moment.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I couldn't tell because the direction I threw him was opposite to where you hit it. So I didn't know which one of us had got the hit on that.
But I gotta give you props. Your Incineroar was wrecking us for a little bit.
Once I figured out that he can actually recover by using his side B and then using up B to get further to the. He doesn't have a good horizontal recovery. His up one is okay, but that's his biggest.
That's one thing I noticed. You had a couple really nice recoveries with him.
Yeah, because it took practice. I need to get used. I just gotta realize he's slow as shit, and I'm not like Ike is faster than him, so I'm not used to that kind of slow.
Yeah,
it'll take time. We will grind that out.
And then that same match, if Cray's still watching, he did 35 side smashes in like a 3-minute match.
you post it on Twitter? You said how many side smashes did you do?
No one answered, but I was in Discord. And that's 35 that came out. There was another 5 or 6 that he was charging but he got hit before that got to let it go. So Cray needs to work on his strategy there, because I used to be like that, and I only did like 4 or 5 smash like moves the whole match, and I used to be one of those that did them constantly. So you used to hear that whistle, the Wii Fit whistle constantly.
Oh my god, you were reckless.
But I know it's something. I guess it's something you learn when you play more, and I think Terrell and I are pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, it kind of usually for us it's usually characters we're picking.
Yeah,
like you're right. It's not as good as Melee.
Melee, but
he's on some shit.
While we're talking about Smash Ultimate, let's transition into another topic that's not at all controversial right now. I'm just so glad I'm playing Smash Ultimate right now instead of Smash 4 Deluxe. So,
don't do this.
I just got to throw that out there, and I know.
Don't do this. I'm asking you.
People can't understand why some people want new games versus old games. Just
get into it.
It doesn't affect new games, Juice. So you still get your games.
You still get them. It's not delaying Mario Kart 9 at all, because
No. But you got arms, Juice. Got arms.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned something about arms. That's a real good lobby system. They should. They should use that in a lot of games.
Oh, my bad. I thought y'all said orange juice. I might have misheard. Oh yeah. Oh, he's right.
So we did this not that long ago, and people in the chat were like, "You can't tell me to be mad about ports. I didn't have a Wii U." I'm just like, that's a different issue. We're talking about.
Also, why didn't you have a Wii
U? The defense of the port being, they needed more shine. You can't leave them to die on the Wii U yet. Nintendo's picked like some of their highest sellers, and it's
they picked the games.
They sold pretty well.
Just admit that Nintendo's trying to quick cash grab, and they're trying to make as much money, so they're picking the games they think will sell the most.
Other than usually.
It's a business hustle. It's a business hustle. Right? Ain't no shame in it. It's just a hustle. Just acknowledge that it's a hustle.
And they shouldn't be $60. I mean, I don't know what the defense is. I just don't understand.
I don't either.
The gamble they made was
Bayonetta. Didn't pay nice enough to them, all right?
Bayonetta didn't do well either. They made that gamble because hey, it didn't sell well on Wii U.
That's one of the few ones that didn't sell at least a million that we know of.
Yeah, I have no problem with Bayonetta. I don't think I even mentioned it.
Bayonetta did get to $1 million on Wii U eventually.
They announced Bayonetta 3 before the port came out. So to me,
that's another reason.
It's like we got a new game, so I don't mind the port. It's kind of like if you got Fatal Frame 6, here's a port of Fatal Frame 5 on top of that. Well, I don't care because I got a new game.
Right.
And then the whole it's a different team they got making them and stuff. Mario Kart 8 on that last report, wasn't it like 15 million or something ridiculous the last time they did an investors briefing or whatever for the end of the year?
Yeah.
They're not even going to breathe a Mario Kart 9 until sometime next year based on the way Mario Kart 8's selling. You can't deny that that's a factor in us not getting Mario Kart 9. Maybe initially they
got
didn't
orange juice. They were making orange, the Mario Kart team. So
play his arms anymore, but it's a good game. But they're not going to cut into the sales of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So the people that been playing since 2014, we'll be lucky if 2020 we'll get a new game to play. If I want some Mario Kart, I'm playing old games. It's that. I mean, it's just
there's no debate. There's no argument against that. It's just a fact, bro.
So that was the weird discussion I had with somebody. Y'all might have saw this, but this guy like swore up and down that Wii U had the shittiest first 2 years ever, and I'm like, do you remember what games came out for the Wii U?
I did that.
Like, do you know what the attach ratio was for those games?
The only thing I'll say in regards to that is that the games we got were fucking great. The pace in which we got them
here's the thing, though. By the time the first 2 years ended, it was up to Smash Brothers was out. Mario Kart, Smash
Mario
Brothers,
Kart 8,
3D World, like some major titles.
Bayonetta,
and it's like people forget it started. 2015 was Splatoon, Xenoblade, and Mario Maker. Everything games that
trailing off
aren't as held as in high regard is the main like top level Wii U games all came out in the first 2 years, except for one or two.
I had a guy tell me like, well, those aren't heavy hitters like Breath of the Wild is, and I'm like, okay, how well did Breath of the Wild sell on Wii U? And it had 13 million units from the jump. I think it sold over 1 million copies. It might be close to.
It's a Wii U game. Sorry, I mean it's not a port. But it is a Wii U game. They built that game on Wii U, so I don't even like to count that game.
Didn't Breath of the Wild on the Wii U sell more games than there were Wii U sold? Wasn't it something like that?
No, the Breath of the Wild didn't sell well at all on the Wii U. It sold like 2 million copies versus God knows how many on the Switch.
Actually,
yeah.
And I have to quickly divert. Terrell linked me that video where he destroyed me.
That was the first time.
I was at 4% health. 4%. He does a smash attack. This broken smash attack puts me at 44 and KO'd me.
Four to death.
I had
four to death.
The character's broken, and they need to fix it. That smash attack is one of the most devastating, and I was literally at 4% when he hit me, and it KO'd me.
Which character is this?
Incineroar. Here, you in the live
chat?
Yeah,
all right. He's not in the chat I just realized.
But you in the...
I'm not in the Google Hangouts when I'm in the
I'm talking
group
about
chat.
the YouTube live chat. I just sent the link.
Group chat.
YouTube chat.
Yes, I'm in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, Terrell sent it too. Okay. But yeah, it's just straight. It's a straight ass whooping, but it's also some straight BS if you.
It's literally one of the funniest things.
Because I had 11% damage. I did the WarioWare thing right, so it dropped me down to 4, and he hits me, and from the center of the stage, and KOs. It's like, come on. But anyway, back to this whole the port situation, and it's like,
oh my god,
yes,
like the rape. This is
I barely hit him the whole match. It's like a minute long. I'm glad you saved that replay because I want people to see the bullshit.
Are you sure you do?
I want to see the bullshit that was on display. But
the one where you walk off the stage, that was the one that had me dying.
Yeah,
I like how he literally jumped into your diamond and didn't get hit though. Like that was wow.
Yeah. Man, listen, cats are the greatest apparently.
So that damn hurt box is ridiculous. It's so small.
The Ruby made a good point that T brought up in his video. Splatoon got a sequel. Like Splatoon 2 sold really well. Like it's at like 7, 8 million, 9 million. Breath of the Wild was not a port of a Zelda game. It's a new game. Smash Ultimate, one of the fastest selling Nintendo games ever. So I hope Nintendo sees that and just like, sequels definitely the way to go. But it's like it's been long enough. And Nintendo's got all these 3DS teams that haven't really put out any games for the Switch yet. So I don't know why.
And the main thing about that is also, like you said, because you said this before too, is especially games like New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe U and Captain Toad. In the time since the last game, they could have easily, with little at point have sequels to those games.
Captain Toad's been 4 years by the time they released that port. And it's like, I mean, you can't tell me they threw that together in a year.
Did Nintendo win? Did they literally just prove to everybody, look, you should have fucking bought a Wii U?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it really is the whole Wii U connection that there's some people will suggest that we're the ones that get triggered by it, but I really think they're the ones that don't want to admit it, that these Wii U games, that really does show how all the quality, games the Wii U had. And, again, if you didn't own a Wii U, they're great games. I don't agree with the price, and I don't know why the Defense Force is out.
I said this a while ago. Essentially, if you were a Switch owner who also owned a Wii U, you're getting punished. Currently, you're essentially getting punished for owning their previous console, because now you have to sit through the same games twice that are technically better, even if it is by a small margin, on a newer console. So
now I understand the issue with a physical release, because yes, that costs money to print, but digital, bro, like really, y'all could come down on that price. Y'all could have some type of promotion for anybody to at least say. At least somebody that bought the game, and you could tell because you could see us registered with my Nintendo. If we bought it on Wii U, give us a discount.
Just on the Wii U, they brought some Wii titles, digital only, Metroid Prime Trilogy, Punch Out. I can't think of them all. The Xenoblade Chronicles, and they said, here for $20, you have the digital version.
Galaxy games too.
It's pretty much just a straight. It's running off the the Wii, part of the Wii U, but no reason they couldn't have done something like that. Hey, you missed out on these Wii U games, but Nintendo, they're selling, so I guess that makes it okay. Even Tropical Freeze is overpriced and people know it, but it sold decent. It sold better than Wii U.
22 million idiots. I mean, gamers out here buying. It's just weird to me that it's like the reverse. The people who were hating all the Wii U and the games and saying it's not worth it are now the ones really trying to justify the ports. I don't know. It's just a never ending.
Strange, man.
And it'd go away if Nintendo would just stop, And I think,
to be fair, and just to be fair, don't think this is just a Nintendo issue. Sony did this a lot during its first few years before. So like the consistency.
And you know what? We made fun of them doing that shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The consistency is there. It was bullshit on the PS4, bullshit on the Switch.
It's still bullshit. They're still releasing old games, and just they're not even promoting them now.
Quietly though, at least they're doing it quietly. They act like they're new games.
It's not a main part of their release schedule. So
HD or remasters.
So
we're already HD. We're gonna do it again.
I'm gonna throw this out there. Whoever wants to tackle it, but just don't buy them. Just don't buy them, guys.
Yeah, that's why they sell.
So because, like I said earlier, I just won't buy Mario Kart 9. Guess what? Because it doesn't exist, because Deluxe is selling so well. So 9's not going to come out anytime soon. So I bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I guess I'm part of the problem for that one. But the reason I can't buy Mario Kart 9, I can't buy Tropical Freeze 2. They don't exist. So it's like,
well, at least Mario Kart 8 Deluxe gave you something new.
I mean, I guess a little bit. I'm only bought it because I'm a damn dad. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. I mean, I have Mario Kart 8.
Look at y'all. Y'all over here. Part of the problem.
I wouldn't have bought that game had it not been for battle mode. I wouldn't touch it.
I got it because it came with the console. That
sounds like a poor man's justification.
You should put that battle mode on you.
Not if I'm spending another $300. Ain't no poor man's justification.
And it's like, we got Terrell. What would you have done without Xenoblade Chronicles 2 instead of Port of X? I mean, just don't buy X. If people have said that, I mean, you and Shadow Fox, you're missing out on 400 plus hours.
I'm still not. I'm not playing X on Switch, man. I'm not.
The problem for people who have already played these games is that they don't mean anything to us. So essentially, when you use Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe as a pad out game, if I don't own the game, then there might as well be nothing in January, which means December with Smash Brothers to all the way until fucking March for Yoshi. So now
you're over here. Now you're over here with the Kingdom Hearts thirst.
And we hope it's good. We hope Yoshi's good.
I got like a few hours left. That's all I need, bro.
Yeah, it's like
it's good. It doesn't turn out to be
my
Kirby situation.
yeah. Hopefully you're
Yoshi. Way, if you weren't a Wii U owner, then you went directly from one game to another game. Smash to Mario Brothers. But if you were a Wii U owner, your gap became, instead of like a few weeks like it was for non-Wii, to like 4 fucking months.
And that happened all last year.
I already explained the situation for me. Like X, that's a dual screen game to me. I can't go back there. I can't go. So you say you ported the Switch right now. I'm there's no way for me to buy that game. I can't do it. I've already spoiled myself and played it with dual screen.
To be fair though, listen, I'm not saying I'm against ports in general. I'm just saying the problem with 2018 is that it was used as like half or more of the lineup to help Nintendo along. So if you were someone who only wanted to play new games, you had like what, 5 real ones, 5 real exclusives to pick from.
But to the average person, they're like, no, this is a shitload of games.
Well, yeah. And that's the difference. That's why the fans of the Wii U are a little annoyed, because it's like, well, fuck, I got punished for buying their previous console.
Right.
And like I said, I wouldn't mind if these were just like, hey, $30, $40 on digital, maybe physical.
Small things on top of each other.
But they're in the damn mainline commercials.
It's like someone just said in the chat, what's the real rush for Mario Kart 9? 8 is still selling. I've been playing Mario Kart 8 for 5 years. I'm sick of those tracks.
Same people saying, hey man, I don't need a GTA 6. GTA 5
But to be real, do you think that Mario Kart 9 will come now after they saw how easy it was to sell deluxe?
Not now, but
I'd say 2021.
It should be here.
Yeah, that'll probably be for the Switch successor.
I was just told in the podcast debate that doesn't make any difference. It's like, yeah, it does.
Bruh, they're making a shitload of profit right now. They're gonna chew on that. And
guess what? Nintendo's never released 2 Mario Kart games on the same system ever.
But hey, you got a new game. You got a new game in Splatoon or
in ARMS.
But it's like ARMS isn't Mario Kart. I'm talking specifically about getting new sequels to games instead of pushing out the port.
Because 3DS didn't even get one. It just got 7, and that's it, right?
Yeah, it was just 7.
Yeah, 7. That's it.
So what would
every Nintendo console only has one Mario Kart?
Yeah, most handhelds. I'm gonna say most of them only have the one.
The handhelds too. Game.
And it's not the mobile game. The mobile game is not the reason they're not putting out Mario Kart 9. So
the only platform to get a Mario Kart sequel is the arcade
or your phone.
Not really even like
your phone. Yeah.
And for me to be real about it, it doesn't. At least if I'm talking personally, some of these don't really bother me much. Like Bayonetta 2 being on Switch, I'm perfectly happy with that one.
Yeah, that works.
But also, like Juice and I think T said, they got a new game announced with it. So it was kind of like I can forgive the port because I'm getting a new game with the port, and it's like you were satisfying both fans. It seems like right now Nintendo's overly catering to the new Switch person versus the last Wii U gamer.
Well, the big problem is that everyone keeps saying, "Oh, Mario Kart 9 doesn't need to happen now." Yeah. The only reason people are saying it is because they released the 8 on Switch. The reason it's selling is because it's Mario Kart at the end of the day, and people are going to buy it because Switch is super popular. But if it was Mario Kart 9 out, it still would be selling the same amount because it's Mario Kart.
Mario Kart 8 sold 8.
Yeah, that's not a question.
It's like
on Wii U.
It's just dumb because it's like, well, if you're like, yeah, but it's selling. It's like, yeah, because it's Mario Kart, but that's not the Mario Kart that should have been out.
Right, it should be a new Mario Kart you're playing with.
What other than Wii Sports? What other franchise can ever claim to have sold 75% of its user base? What other game could claim that? Not even the original Super Mario Brothers can attest to that.
I think Deluxe is. I mean, that's a 20 million seller probably on Switch because they're not going to release the next one. So again, where do you draw the line?
Why would you put out another one?
Where do you draw the line? I'm asking the people in the chat. You're saying it's not time. Where do you draw the line? The Switch 2 comes out, let's say in 2021 or 2022.
Yep. Mario Kart 9 time.
Do they release Mario Kart 9 or do they release Mario Kart 8 Deluxe 4K?
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe 8K.
So where do you
real
draw
time
the
ray
line?
tracing.
I don't. With these the generations has always been the line. I played every Mario Kart game, and as a longtime fan, each one has brought something new to the table. I felt 7 to me was the least, was like between Wii and 7. I was like, but then 7 to 8 was a huge jump. Maybe they don't have that special sauce. Maybe there's more behind the scenes. But where do you draw the line? When do you need the new game versus the port? That's what I don't understand.
I want to I'm gonna use an example. It's not on Nintendo, but it is a relevant example. On PlayStation 3, we got Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5 HD remixes, which were essentially the final remix versions of PlayStation 2 games. On PlayStation 4, we got an HD upgrade.
Same shit.
Pretty much the same. On the PS4, you got the HD version of a game that was released on the PS3 of games that were released on the PlayStation 2.
Oh, damn.
Well, yes. At that point, do you think it's time to stop? And if you say no, then we need to have a quick.
But on the PS3, it was supposed to be running in HD, but it was actually running in 512, and then you actually do it in HD on the PS4. So now it's actually HD, the original promise.
At least those are only like $40 though.
Yeah, I mean, but the point I'm making is just getting back to what you were saying. When does it stop? When I keep porting over shit from like 3 or 4 generations ago that I just ported over a generation ago. I just ported this over on PS3. Now I'm porting it over
again.
It's
not going to stop because people are saying, "Oh, I like being able to play those games on my new console." So
there's people asking for Wind Waker HD on the Switch. Like,
yeah, like what are we doing?
But I gotta
go buy a GameCube and be done with it.
Listen, I'm not mad at you for asking for those things, but the point I'm trying to make is do you not think that's a problem that companies can overly rely on old games to the point where the majority of your fucking output from one developer is a bunch of fucking remakes or a bunch of fucking ports?
Sony gamers gonna buy it up. I'm just gonna be real with you. They're gonna buy it up.
Think about it. You think when the PlayStation 5 is gonna come out, you don't think there's gonna be an HD port of fucking The Last Guardian?
When the PlayStation 5 comes out, if there's a God of War collection that's in 4K, that shit's gonna sell fucking 10 million copies. I shit you not. Mark my words. If that comes out, it's gonna sell 10 million copies.
To the point where it's starting to become a problem.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We're not just talking about it for our personal taste and stuff. We see the writing on the wall of this becoming more and more the new standard. Is hey, we don't need to make a new game. We can port it. And I don't know if Harden. We know why they're not releasing Mario Kart now. We said it because Mario Kart 8 is selling so well. Whether that was their intention or not, that automatically delays Mario Kart 9's release because.
What Steve's juice? The Mario Kart team was making ARMS, so that's why they're not making. The Mario Kart team was making ARMS. Because they were like, hey, we're gonna put Mario Kart 8 again on the Switch instead of 9, so you don't have to worry about that. Make something else.
Well, Mario Kart 9 gonna be delayed because Retro can't help on making the tracks, so they making Metroid.
At least when it came going by that logic, we still got something new out of it. Like we still got. I mean, as far as the whole ARMS situation.
Oh
like,
yeah.
At least
I don't mind ARMS coming out. And then
I hate that we're using Mario Kart because I didn't have that big of a problem with Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart I feel like is the worst.
I didn't have that problem with the port until I realized
exactly
sales. Now I know that I can't play a new game with new tracks or anything probably for another 2 years, maybe more.
I remember when that was first coming out. I was saying that like that because of this. I don't think we're even gonna get a Mario Kart.
You did say that.
Yeah. It's a flagship game now. It's bundled. It's a wrap.
Robert.
And
Robert,
like
rare moment, so someone need to get him a trophy. Someone get him a crown.
Well, because like to me, it was every time I saw it, I was like, well, there's only one per generation. Are there? And we know that. Like, I don't know why people they thought. Well, I remember. I think Juice, you thought maybe it was gonna sell a little bit, but not to this extent.
Yeah, I thought maybe it would do.
I don't think we all thought.
I thought for sure it was just gonna continue to sell because fucking why not? It's Mario Kart. Like people are just gonna buy it because they're buying anything. And so it's like there's no need for a 9. There's no need for them to develop anything.
And I can't even. I turned 8 on. Me and I think it was Cray and maybe Retro. We were trying to get on with Retro Death. It was clocked at Cray and I played probably 4 or 5 races, and I'm like, yeah, I'm bored. It's like It's like turning on
Wii U.
Super. It's like turning on an NES game, and it's I can't wait to play Ninja Gaiden again, and then 5 minutes later, like yeah, I'm bored. You know,
I got 300 hours in that game. You combine the Wii U, bro.
I know.
So
some people got over 1,000.
Yeah.
I love you know, this is a prime example of people hearing what they want to hear. So now we don't like ARMS, and we don't want them to make new stuff.
That's what
it's like I loved ARMS. It was what, my number 3 game of the year. I think it's number 4 game of the year last year.
Yeah.
I love ARMS.
Where's the ARMS for 2018?
I'm not mad that ARMS is out. I'm mad that because of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe selling so well that I can't play a new Mario Kart game for probably be 7 years after the launch, maybe more. And you know, you might go, boo-hoo, you know, I've had to wait forever for F-Zero, you know, but F-Zero didn't have mandatory game on every system since, other than the Game Boy. They've had
ever since Mario Kart came out.
The way Nintendo fans felt about Retro when they found out the game they were working on was DK and not a Metroid game.
And then it ended up being fucking flawless.
And I was happy.
It's like essentially people's attitude right now towards kind of like the Mario Kart developers, where it's like, because the game is done so well, they don't have a reason to make another one right now. And for fans, because I think I've mentioned it before, I'm not overly into Mario Kart as much as like Juice is. So like, it don't really bother me not to have a Mario Kart. But I can understand the pain of those fans where it's like, fuck, I want a new game and I know I'm not gonna get it anytime soon because the fucking remake is selling. So what? Why you?
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
What if they put
it's
out
not a situation where you're not getting a new game because it doesn't sell well. You're not getting a new game because it sells too well.
Yeah.
Yes, and they spending all their time supporting it, so they're not gonna.
Right.
Imagine the people who are in the camp about of 3D World. Oh, this isn't the real 3D Mario game. The real 3D Mario game's coming, and you know, that whole generation.
You never got it.
That didn't come. What if they had released 3D World Deluxe in 2017?
And they could, because that sold well.
Yeah, that was selling 50. That sold 15 million copies, and there's no Odyssey. Like, we're seeing what's happening and what potentially this could grow into, and that's why we're fighting against it. It's a bad what do you say, precedent that's being set.
If we get our way, that's what I'm saying to everybody who's, you know, against what we're talking about. What do you lose? You lose nothing. You get new games. You don't lose anything.
I don't know why people don't want new games, but anyway.
Like, that's the thing. Like, just to say that about Mario Kart, you know, like, I love the Mario Kart games, and I think Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U is like the greatest Mario Kart ever made. Like, I can literally play like the same track 1,000 times in a row, and I'm gonna have so much fun all the time. And like, I was like one of those people like T who like was advocating like how fucked up it was that there was no battle mode and everything. So now they made this game, you know, and like they made it a bit sharp or whatever, you know, and like they added like the greatest battle mode ever with all these extra modes into it, all these new characters and that kind of shit, all DLC into it. And I'm sitting there, I'm playing it and having fun, but I'm still like, this is great, but like, it gives me that same kind of like bittersweet aftertaste that like Breath of the Wild gave me. Is like, but I'm still playing a fucking Wii U game though. It's like, I would have preferred to wait like a year to give me Mario Kart 9. Like, it is bullshit that we have this.
But in at the end of the day, part of this is just business. Like, realistically, Nintendo, realistically, Nintendo couldn't afford to not have some type of killer app or some good padding out games to make up for the fact that they don't have new shit. Because as much as we want them, because I want to be fair here, as much as we want them to put out the next Mario Kart and the next like, we want legit sequels, it still takes time, and those schedules don't necessarily line up. So they need games out.
I think Nintendo was banking on the Wii's success extending the lifespan of Wii U. And they were going to use that to say, look, we're not new. We're new to this HD development thing. We'll get around to it. We're working on it. We got the 3D Land team working on this 3D Mario game. And then while they're working on that, the Super Mario team will be working on, you know, what will eventually be called Odyssey or whatever. And they're sitting there working and grinding, and they're not getting it done in time. And you know, in the meantime, this console is like, oh yeah, I'm taking your shit. I'm dying on you guys. And so they're left with like, okay, we got all these tools, we got all these art assets. What are we gonna do? Okay, let's build up for launch and then go from there. So that's pretty much. I'm pretty sure that's how it ended up going. And especially with Zelda getting delayed, they're like, okay, well, we got 2 games in the pipe. And they complained before about us letting third party have the second year, and they didn't do shit. So let's just make sure that's not even ever the case. And hit you with the 1-2 punch. So like it's like boom, Zelda at launch, Mario in October, and that was it. And I'm pretty sure Mario Odyssey was like done. I think Zelda was the game that actually took the longest for them to complete, and Mario was just like literally waiting for a time slot to release.
Yeah, look, Mario was potentially a Wii U game.
Yeah, it looks so done at E3. Like
yeah, I mean that game could have been done, but the point that Visor Grunt made, he's like, Nintendo. If Nintendo gave us something exciting to talk about, we don't normally just sit here and rant and rave. It's because there's nothing else to talk about, really.
Right.
Exactly.
Great
Well,
point.
if we want to get on something a little bit more positive, we can mention the whole 32 gig cards being a little bit more available.
Oh, so
I
happy.
didn't even see that. I thought you guys were joking about that.
No.
What's the thing?
That's based off of the Final Fantasy. Was it 10 and 10-2 and the 12 not remakes, ports coming out to Switch?
They all gonna be on one card?
Yeah, they're gonna be on one card because people said, oh, they were like, because they had
10.2 is not going to be on card. You have to download it.
Say what?
10.2 is going to be a download.
Is that a joke?
No, it's real. It's bullshit. It's
Real?
bullshit. Yeah, 10 will be on the card, and that one is, what did they say?
What, 30?
30 gigs or something?
Yeah,
Well, if they can do that.
because what it was, Nintendo Life had an interview with Virtuous Games, which are the guys who are reporting the Final Fantasy games, and they mentioned, oh well, on PS4 it was like 64 gigs,
and they compressed it,
and we compressed it down to 32 to save, and didn't sacrifice any frame rates or anything. And people were like, wait a minute, I thought 32 gig cards were too fucking expensive. Now this can mean one or two things: either Square was willing to put out that kind of money for a fucking port, which I highly fucking doubt, or 32 cards become more available.
Well, look at, I mean, solid state drives. You can get a 240 gig solid state drive for like 30 something bucks right now.
Yeah,
like,
that's different though. This is kind of similar to how Mask ROM is on the 3DS cards. So you've got a read and a write, and they both have synchronous speeds. Whereas Flash has the write is a different speed and the read is a different speed. So this is
still, in general, memories come way down in the past couple years.
Well, and this might be part of the reason why we were already hearing confirmations for things like Doom Eternal and Mortal Kombat. Now, granted, they're still gonna have to put work in to, get the game to run properly. But hey, if I have a bigger cart, that's more room for me to put
for
other
assets.
I really hope.
I think that might be part of the reason why we're getting those ports. And it might lead into better ports in the future, pretty much.
And because, supposedly this Assassin's Creed rumor as well.
Yeah,
it's the worst Assassin's Creed one.
Announced it. It's been all over the place.
Other than like Unity, I think it's one of the worst. If it's Assassin's Creed 3, nobody really enjoyed that game. But anyway, the 32 gig cart thing.
I think it is.
If
no, it will fit. I must be thinking about something else.
If Mortal Kombat 11 comes out, and Doom Eternal comes out, and there's no ugly white banner across the top with blue lettering, I mean that'd be a nice step in the right direction for
that you must download.
But haven't we had a game already, like around the launch, that was a 32?
There was a 32 gig, but it never came out in the US.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a Japanese game, right?
It was
Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest. Okay.
It was a warrior style. It was
warrior style. Yeah.
And that shit ran like ass.
Yeah. But I hope that becomes I don't even think the 16 gig cards are very common. It seems like
no, it's not.
Developers are trying to stay under
trying to be cheap.
4 gig.
4 gig or 8
with the compression, and then if you got to download stuff,
Okay. Can I read this real quick about the file size, or whatever?
Yeah.
Final Fantasy. It says, in addition to Virtuous let on that that it was technically challenging to make Final Fantasy work on Switch, as it had to be converted to 64 gigabytes from its original size. So it's down. The 10 and 10.2 were converted down from whatever it was to 64 gigs. So this is at odds with its prior comment, which could imply that Final Fantasy could be on 32 gig card. So yeah, X2, I believe I remember them saying it had to be a download code. Yeah, it says right here, cartridge with Final Fantasy X2 being a download code, similar to Bayonetta 1 and 2. So yeah, you're only going to get 10 on the card, which is 32 gigs, because altogether it's 64.
Okay.
But the advantage of the point, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but the point still stands about the 32 card. I just wanted to make sure people knew that.
I'd be curious to see how more
download for your Switch there, boy. 32 gigs, goddamn.
So I'd be curious to see how that Mortal Kombat.
I don't know that Mortal Kombat would be that big of a game, honestly.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat X, at least on like PS4, was a lot. I don't remember what it was, but it was like I think it was like 50.
I can look it up while you guys are talking.
I think a 40 would be something you can convert down to 32 for Switch. Because
I mean, if Resident Evil, if RE2 can be 21 gigs on a PS4, I don't know why a Mortal Kombat would be so huge.
It was 34.
Oh, I was wrong.
And you got to figure the Switch it's already gonna be like 60% of that just for the lower quality textures and stuff. So, I mean,
you cut FMVs, you cut out raw audio,
compressed audio, yeah. So
so realistically, they could get away if the old game, which came out because X came out on PS4, didn't it?
Yeah.
So the new game might be in the 40 range. So I think they could swing that. Fighting games I didn't expect to be huge anyway. Doom might be though.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal.
I was surprised on PC how big Doom is. It's like almost 60 gigs. And I think I mentioned this not that long ago. Because on Switch, what is it? 16 plus. I think you download 10, so it's like 26. But if they could get Doom Eternal like on on the cartridge and not have to download stuff, that would be a big win. I mean,
I wouldn't mind having to download the online. That's it. Stop it right there.
Doom is 50 gigs on console and it's 45 on PC.
That's before updates and shit.
So real quick, I probably should have made a video on this correcting Spawn Wave multiple fucking times. But the misconception about NAND going down in price means that these cartridges will go down in price. They're like completely separate because NAND is only one part of extra ROM that goes in these cartridges. It's a custom ASIC that goes in these too. So the only part of NAND that goes into these cartridges is how the data is stored. The other part, when you read back out, there's an extra mass ROM layer on there, and they have to write it, and they have to basically build a chip on top of it to say, hey, look, your random read and your random writes and your sequential writes need to be as close to equal as possible. So if we have to downclock the NAND on read, we'll do so to make sure the write is close to that. So they make that custom. Macronix makes that custom, and you got to order those in certain capacities ahead of time. So
if I may defend Spawn Wave though, he wasn't the first person that said it. He's probably the fifth person.
Yeah, he just heard it. It sounded popular, and then but these guys, they have their own foundry for this, and they're literally the only people to get it from. So it's almost like buying custom shit. And the price isn't going to go down just because in the market NAND is down. It's how many can they produce and make a profit off of. And if they're not making a profit because buying, say, 1,000 of them at 64 gigs isn't giving them enough, they're not going to drop the price. So it just depends on how many people order them and how much profit they get before they can afford to drop the price. And if developers aren't going to 16 gigs, it's never going to be cheap enough for them to get 32, 64, and so on. Like literally, they are the one-stop shop to make these cartridges smaller. And I hate to beat a dead horse with that. I think I did it on a couple of videos, but I didn't specifically address him. But that's a big issue, and I think a lot of people are thinking that they're going to go down because of that, and they're not the same.
Well,
they're not equal.
I mean, the Switch is doing so great. I know Nintendo, they're winning.
See what you're about to say.
They get a little greedy, but why can't they just put in an order for a couple million 32
I'm pretty
gig
sure
card.
they do for first party stuff. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, but just have the 32, buy them in bulk so the developers and stuff. Maybe their game ain't gonna sell 5 million, but if Nintendo buys them in bulk and can lower the price, then maybe if that's a hurdle for a developer, or save the end user from having to have the ugly banner on their box and download, the rest of their game. Because I'm getting down, I'm under 70 gigs left on my micro SD. So I mean, if I was
at this point, is that a gamble? That's not a gamble for Nintendo.
No, the thing's selling.
They've never done it in the past though. Like they were able to do dual layer.
This is a new Nintendo
on the game.
This is a young Nintendo. They got a new guy in charge. So let's talk about the video they released.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people received. I don't see anybody like angry, and I think it was just like. It showed that Nintendo still does have respect for their fan base. The Metroid Prime 4 update, and I gotta admit, when I saw it, my first reaction was excitement. I know Red Knight said he instantly felt dread, but to me, I was like, "Yep, what did I say? No more directs. What did I say?" That's my first thought, and then I got into it, and I was like, "Oh."
You still had space.
So, but you gotta respect that they let us know, and they could have just kept quiet like they always do, and people could have been asking, and we could have been expecting it at E3, because I think almost 100% of the people, there are people who, I did a poll, what game's more likely to release in 2019, Bayonetta 3 or Metroid, and Metroid won the poll out of like 70 people or whoever voted.
Over Bayonetta?
Over Bayonetta 3, that a lot of people thought that game, and if it had,
the artwork for Bayonetta 3 has been out since 2 released.
But the point is, I think if there wasn't issues, I think maybe there was a slight chance it could have been a late 2019, early 2020 game, if the development had been going the way they want, and the game they wanted, was working out the way they wanted it. So Retro, I don't think your prediction, if you didn't know they were going to change and restart from scratch, I really think it would have been at E3. If the game they had started was working out, I think it would have been at this year's E3. So I think it was. So. I mean, based on what?
Based on I'll give you the same spiel again that I gave so far all the time. When Nintendo announced it was like a little over a year ago, and
it'll be 2 years by the time E3 hit.
But it's not yet though. They showed like a title card, which is something they don't rarely do. Maybe once or twice.
Well, they did it for.
It's not some.
Let me just quickly fire.
You're gonna let him do it.
Just quick. Animal Crossing, all they showed was a non-gameplay CG trailer, and that game's coming out within a year.
I said they almost never do it, and still for Animal Crossing, they made a CG trailer. There was nothing there. There wasn't a Metroid Prime logo, So the thing is that it's the second they showed that,
it means
people were like, okay, it's gonna happen. We're gonna have this, all that shit. And I said, nah, I don't think so.
There are no rules like with that stuff when it comes to Nintendo. Because how long before Mario?
Yeah, but now you say there's no rules, but then people say like, oh, every 5 years Nintendo does this, but it's like,
well, to be fair,
sometimes you follow rules, sometimes you don't. Like for my reasoning. Like, there's no way a game that was going to be as big as Metroid Prime. Nintendo says, they said we started development on this shit, okay? So now they said, okay, it didn't work out. In my opinion, when they set that trailer, maybe for like a couple of months, they seriously started working on that. That's what I think. And it's like, I don't do speculation or rumors. This is just what I think. Like, they started it for like a couple of months working on it. And then after a year, they came to a point where the basis of what they wanted the game to become was complete for whatever team was working on it, And Nintendo looked at that and they were like, whoa, this is not really Prime 4. Nobody's going to be happy with it, And then they started trying to work on that and they couldn't figure out. And that's when they were like, okay, we got to scrap this because we got to just reboot this shit, In my opinion, if this team that they had it now had the game so far ready, that you guys that do things like, okay, at this E3 we could have had a trailer. That means the game was so far ready, they could have easily made it into a separate Metroid game instead of just scrapping the whole thing. I doubt they were that far yet with the game. Like I said, I thought not even in 2019 we were actually going to see gameplay of this. I think 2020 E3 we might have seen gameplay of it, because I just don't think they were that far ahead of it. And just like now, they're rebooting. I don't think we're going to see anything of this for like the next 5 years, unless what I'm afraid of, that now because everybody's crying so much about this shit, Nintendo's like, crap. Okay, let's switch the team. Now we quickly rush this thing out, and that's what I'm afraid of. But like I said, I don't have any basis of my proof. This is just what I believe. Like, there's no way they were far with that.
Yeah, that's fine. But all I'm saying is that there's no evidence to say, oh, this was not going to be a thing. Because I remember E3 where Iwata said, "Oh, we're gonna have Super Smash Brothers for Wii."
For the Wii,
and the developer didn't even know.
No, they were watching it like we were. I was just about to say that.
So that's what I meant by what I'm saying. There's no, you can't look for evidence to suggest that wasn't happening, because.
But I just said I don't have evidence. That's just like my thing.
Yeah, I think if it had.
And in the end, I was right, so people can cry. I was still right.
You're right. For the wrong reason,
but Smash Bros. Turned out just fine, and it came out pretty quickly.
Say, it's not happening, and it doesn't happen. That's not, you're not putting yourself on a limb. Yeah, happen. Like, that's
what I think was when the announcement, they had whatever months, 1 month, 2 months. They knew they were making the game, and the earliest of pre-production stuff maybe had been happening. But what I'm saying is by time of E3 2019, they would have been working on the game for at least 2 years. So I thought for sure we'd see something. I think if they had been progressing the way they wanted to.
That day, you're right, Juice. Even if they had just started that day, 2 years would not be enough to say, because you would expect the game to come in 3 years. Like, that's a good development cycle for that game. So 2 years.
Now you're making rules again. You're just telling me I can't follow rules because Nintendo doesn't do rules, and now you're saying
rule. That's not a rule.
Logic. Nintendo doesn't really have any rules.
Yeah, that's what you guys just said. But now like it's a 3-year cycle. You can't say there's a 3-year cycle rule and then tell me they don't do rules, because now you're saying they have a rule for it.
I didn't say that.
Okay, OJ.
Oh shit!
What's OJ saying?
Semantics here. Like, all I said,
we're just saying that
amount of time for a development cycle. I didn't say that's the rule. That's 3 years. That's the life cycle of development for Metroid.
I'd be shocked if Nintendo couldn't make a quality game in 3 years, other than Breath of the Wild. But anyway,
I think it was us. I think we were the issue. I think they looked at the development of this game, and they're like, "This is not a Metroid Prime game." The majority of the people that bought this game were in North America. They're not gonna like this shit. And they saw what happened with the last game on 3DS. So they're like, okay, no, we're not doing this. We got to start over. And that's why they went and got Retro.
But that's my question. Like, why did it take 1.5 years for them to realize that? Why did that happen? This is a top franchise who, just like you just said, there was backlash from Other M. There was backlash from Federation Force. And people wanted a Prime game.
Return to form.
Treat that way.
I think they thought that they could make it easier instead of dealing with the whole retro and us having to do conference calls, across countries and shit.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking when I heard what happened.
They're like, we can do this in house and make it real quick. Namco helped us with everything else, so we can take Retro's engine and try to make our own game. And then Retro's like, no, we're masters at that, and we figured out how to do that when we worked with y'all the first.
Well, we don't even know.
Star Fox, didn't it?
Yeah, it didn't with Star Fox. But
let's talk about Retro Studios then, because I put out a tweet and I asked a poll, what is the next Retro Studios' next game to actually release will be Metroid Prime 4, Donkey Kong Country Returns 3, whatever tentative title, or other, and it was other. One out, Donkey Kong was next, and then Metroid Prime 4 wasn't last. But I honestly, there's a part of me that strongly believes, and there's no way to prove this, so this isn't a rule, Retro. I'm saying I have a feeling, almost a feeling that Retro didn't want this to happen to them. Like, I think they probably had a game they've been working on, and now this gets dropped in their lap, and I'm guessing not everybody was thrilled, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everyone's like, oh yes, finally we're the ones that should have been making it to begin with. I don't know, but I feel like it's been so long, and a lot of those Metroid Prime guys are gone. I kind of feel like I'm kind of a little worried that is going to be the next new game.
I don't see why they would be against it, because like you just said, there's a lot of new people who have never touched Metroid before. So I would expect that, oh, that's cool. We get to do something that's new to us, for the most part. So,
but they have all their old planning documents and all the other stuff too. So
I don't know.
I think a lot
also
of
they speak English.
I think a lot of the problems is always like what Shadow was saying earlier, like that we are technically the problem. It's like most gamers, were assuming Metroid 4 was being made for a while, just like because what Juice just said, like what you guys said, Retro's new game. People just always assumed Retro is working on a new game, and I swear that was just like Tropical Freeze, just like the whole Pikmin 4 thing, where people assumed it was a new console game, even though a game came out.
You don't know
people
yet.
That's what I mean, like people always
there's
assume
much of an
so
assumption
much.
thinking Retro Studios is working on a game for the last 4 years.
But I think they knew. I think they knew at some point.
A company who costs Nintendo money, you would expect them to be doing something. Like that's not a crazy assumption.
Got to pay their employees to do something, so they were making.
I think Retro had. I think they knew kind of like backhandedly that what was going on and that they were going to end up getting the job. Like a couple of months back, they started fucking trolling people and posting pictures of Prime Rib and like. So they were really doing that shit. So I think they've known probably for a couple of months now how this was going to go. They just couldn't really say anything.
So I'm gonna ask you guys, because you probably maybe you did the poll or not, but it doesn't tell me who said what. What do you think? Will Retro have a game out? Maybe something they've been working on. Maybe it was Donkey Kong. Maybe it's something new. Maybe it's Star Fox racing game. Or will Metroid Prime 4 be the next new Retro Studios game to come out? Because I think Prime 4 has a strong chance to be the next game they release.
Fucking car combat.
How big of a studio are they?
How big?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, because when they first blew up, they were 200 strong. Yeah, I don't know how they are now, but
that's kind of big, I guess. Well, I don't know, but that sounds big to me.
Well, the biggest Assassin's Creed team was 900 people.
Yeah, and that's a global team though,
and that was to get them out every year. So
I think my answer would be simple. I'd be like, okay, everything is ditched. They're working on Metroid Prime now, just because I still think Nintendo is gonna push them harder than they would if they were the original developers, because they still want to try to not get this thing out in 5 years, which is what I think it will be. But I feel if they push them that hard, I don't think we would see anything else. If they actually have a big enough team that they could work on multiple things, I do think we could see something from them.
I mean, and they got Metroid Prime 2 out relatively quick after 1, but that's the same game engine, same assets and stuff. So I would hope they go back to the drawing board on some stuff and brand new, concept art, and not try to stay too close to the series. And maybe that's what they were doing. And they didn't like.
60 frames per second, son.
Yeah, it's got to be fluid and it's got to be impressive. So, I'd be curious someday if we ever find out some former Retro employees, talk about this, because I'm be really love to be a fly on the wall when they got the call. And maybe, like I said, maybe they wanted it or maybe they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
look at their hirings and what they're even looking for. You would expect again.
They've been looking for people with tools and knowledge of.
Yeah, they've hired people 2 years ago.
Modern stuff.
People from like Deus Ex developers. Some of those guys are there. So,
I hope they have another. I hope Metroid Prime.
Yeah, man. First person adventure.
Yep. I just hope Prime 4 isn't their next game. I hope they've been working on something and it's going to come out on Switch, because that's the other thing.
Geist 2?
They acquired the rights from Konami. It's going to be a new hybrid heaven, maybe.
So even if they started a couple months ago, I'd be shocked if Prime 4, 3 years, let's say quickest. I can't see it being quicker than 3 years. I don't know. I'd be shocked.
I say it's launched for new hardware. At this point, I'm just going to be real. I don't think.
I almost want be true.
I don't think they're going to turn it around. I mean, short of them turning Switch into another Wii and it lasting,
but
almost
even
7
then,
years or so.
The games that came out on the tail end of the Wii didn't sell shit. Skyward Sword really
So
sold.
it's best to make it launch.
Like you said.
So it sucks because if Prime had come out, let's say next year, and in the game we wanted, it could have potentially been the best. Probably would have been the best selling Metroid game of all time. And now that they missed that, so that whatever they had going was absolute shit. Because if they pulled the plug,
I would love to see what it looked like.
Metroid Prime 4 went from $60 to $460.
Yep. Yeah, so it's if they put it out late in the Switch's life, then it's probably not gonna sell like shit. If it puts out early in a new console, that also sometimes limits the sales of a game. So
right, because it's still a new console. It's not going to be.
And who knows what the success of the next system will be? It could be a Wii U situation.
Yeah. Still cheaper than $440 for a for just to play fucking Resogun, but that's
it's going to be a Breath of the Wild type of game for it to do well on the beginning of a console's life. It's going to have to be a transcending kind of game series.
I think with how well the Switch is doing and how poorly the Wii U technically did, I think Nintendo is going to keep the Switch for like a while. Like, again, with the rule thing, people are like, every console is like a 5-year span, this and that. Meanwhile, the PS4, I think the PS3 was there for like 10 fucking years, I don't know. I think because of how well the Switch is doing, at most, like, I don't believe we're getting a Switch Pro in like next year. Like, people are saying this is stupid, but I do believe that an upgraded Switch is something we will get that will make the longevity like a lot more than 5 years. I think we can easily stick probably to like around 8 to 10 years on the Switch, considering how well it's doing now, how much of a success it is. So it's just a formula that works that you could just like expand upon. I don't think we're gonna get like a next thing like that fast.
Or Switch doesn't have a successor and it ends up being a third pillar. I mean, I always thought that Project NX was an ecosystem more so than one platform, to be honest with you anyway. So if they're able to say, you know what, we're making a box next, and then it ends up being a box or whatever, and then whatever version of whatever game you want to play, you can take it on the go as the Switch is now, per se, then that's your go-to. And then they just say, you know what, we're not going to update that shit. Or if we do, it'll just be modular updates, kind of like a cell phone. We'll add 8 gigs instead of we'll add 64 gigs or instead of the 32 or what have you, and then the latest processor that's a die shrink or what have you. It's not going to be, hey, this is the brand new 4K Switch doing all the way that they built that. Just if you just open it and look at it, the way that they built that, it was like, okay, we built this so we can drag and drop parts for the most part to quote unquote update it. They're not planning on redoing a whole another motherboard.
Yeah, if they don't, even if they did like an Xbox One X type of leap, like you're talking, I'd be shocked if 5 years the Switch isn't completely out of momentum, games aren't selling, and especially with the PS5 and the next Xbox will be out, you're not getting any of those third-party games. But
if they phase out the 3DS, though, could it not take the place of the 3DS?
I guess if they want to just...
That's what the DS did.
They want to make it their handheld. But, I mean, it already... Like, right now, games on Switch look good, no doubt about it. But you compare it to the cream of the crop on the current PS4, Xbox One. I mean, the gap's pretty big. And then if you go to the next generation and Switch is still trying to compete, it definitely have to be more the handheld focus. Like you're saying, it could become the new handheld.
And then Nintendo makes a box.
That's how it could still be kind of relevant in year 6, but I really don't.
But the life cycle, I'll just quickly address the life cycle thing, like the PS2. Yeah, that thing went on and kept selling for 10 years, but the new console was out within 5 years.
Yeah, that's true.
2006.
So, yeah, it was still on the market, it was selling, but, for the most part, it wasn't in most gamers like, oh, I'm gonna get a new game for my PS2 in 2008. Nobody was doing it. Like,
yeah, because the PS3 was out.
It was only the 7th generation that got extended. It was only the 7th gen
that got extended. It's because nobody made any damn money except for Nintendo.
And that was 7 years. So
yeah. Then
Nintendo,
they tried selling 3D games. They tried selling the motion controls. It was
Even if because that was my theory on the Switch. After a certain amount of time, Nintendo gonna start treating it like this their handheld, and they'll have a new console out. But here's the thing: if you put out, if you put out Metroid Prime 4 on that system, that 5-year, 6-year into the Switch life cycle, most people are gonna be like, man, why don't they put that on a new console? Like I want to play
something like with Samus Returns. Everyone's like, why isn't that on the Switch?
Yeah.
And
it didn't sell that great.
Like 300,000, I think, maybe it sold. So, so here's the question. I know Terrell's been muted because he don't care about Metroid, but
I'm okay.
What's the Metroid? What's the game to give you that Metroid fix on the Switch in the next year or two for this delay? Is it the Prime trilogy? Is it brand new 2D? Is it Samus Returns port in HD? I mean, what do you think is the most realistic, and what would you rather have?
A sequel to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. That's the closest I could think. What else is going to do that?
Well, I'm just saying an actual Metroid game on the Switch.
I would say a new 2D game
made by the guys that made Samus Returns, probably.
Yeah, because I can see what they did when they're not locked down to the idea of a remake. To be fair, Samus Returns is pretty different from the original, from what I've read and seen.
That 3D looks good,
but I think they've earned enough respect to where it's like, I think they can have a hand in another 2D Metroid game. What's better? Yeah.
I will say, the Returns. I never played Samus Metroid 2 Return of Samus. I didn't like fighting that same stupid thing over and over, even though it did evolve.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder why Chariot Goblin says Switch doesn't deserve Samus Returns. I mean, that's just so random.
Fine, the 3DS is a better system, I think, is what he's
maybe. So for me, because I bought Samus Returns and know how we already talked about ports, that doesn't work for me, but I think it makes sense. The game's already made.
It's the quickest to do.
And there's a lot of people that didn't play it, so that would be a good option.
Well, that was the answer for that AM2R thing as well, because
it also, to me, it was really late in the generation, and it did not. And Samus, and I don't know how to put it, it wasn't during the height of 3DS sales.
No, that's the point you were making about Metroid Prime 4 coming out late on the Switch's life. 3D didn't even think about it. Samus Returns is the reason why is one piece of evidence to say you don't do that. You don't release one on the tail end of a system's life, because
the only advantage is that it could be the same thing that they did with Breath of the Wild. If it's too late in the generation and they realize the Switch isn't selling as much, you can easily shift it into the beginning of a new console generation.
Yeah. But that would be the Switch in this case. I don't think there's another 3DS after this.
Because the problem
once it's done, it's done.
People get burnt out on people like new tech. Regardless of the new tech, it's like that vastly superior. People just like new tech.
And Metroid not been a huge seller, so I don't think that strategy works with the the dual release or whatever.
What is the best-selling Metroid game anyway? Is it Super Metroid?
Metroid Prime is.
Metroid Prime is
2.84. Super Metroid's at 1.4, way down.
It depends if Nintendo feels like marketing, because that seems to be a key fact. Like
Samus Returns doesn't even have numbers.
There are certain franchises that can do well without marketing. Metroid, actually, I don't even think Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem's not one of them. Fire Emblem suffers greatly when you don't market their fucking games.
Oh, of course.
Some franchises live and die by whether they're marketed to the general audience. I remember Metroid, especially even other M was marketed pretty heavily. I don't think Samus Return was, though. I think me
that was just an E3 thing.
If they're willing to put the budget behind it and push it properly, it may not be as bad, because Metroid. It also depends on what it looks like. Like, there's a bunch of different factors. Certain games are more marketable to the general audience than others.
If they don't think they're going to get returned, they're not going to put the budget behind it. So that's
you have no confidence in your game, though.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what they do. They have an internal marketing team for that reason. They're like,
all right, let's get back on the. I just want to get everybody's thoughts.
Make us go to sleep.
Yeah, I want to get everyone's thought. What do you think Nintendo will do? What should they do to get that, to do like a Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD situation, to get a Metroid game on the Switch in the next couple years?
so
what do you think?
Bring back the trilogy again?
Definitely, I think for sure they should do that. I feel like the no-brainer is
that's good enough.
trilogy.
At
In
this point,
HD, I mean, come on.
Really do some cool stuff with the Joy-Cons, obviously.
Yeah.
And what is it? The HD Rumble. Like, you really go in with that stuff. Obviously, you have to do it for both because it has to work for the handhelds as well. But still gives a cool incentive that way. And maybe, here's the thing. Metroid Prime 2 had a pretty good multiplayer in it. Put that bad boy online. That would, I think it would make a lot of people very happy. So do that.
Yeah, I'm actually, since I already had the Prime trilogy on my Wii U. Not to bring up the Wii U again, but I'd be happier with like either a new 2D game. I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't.
Depends on how much work they did to it. If it like was a
go in like ground up.
Yeah, if it's like what maybe it doesn't have to be Resident Evil 2 level of jump, but like if they really make it feel fresh, and because I still have those games, so it would be a harder sell. But I wouldn't buy Samus Returns HD either. So I'd rather have Mercury Steam or somebody make a 2D Metroid game with a really cool art style or something,
But I think since Retro is making Metroid Prime 4, they could probably do a trilogy and just upgrade the Tetris and stuff pretty quickly with the engine that they're building for that new game. Like they could probably turn that around in like
they have to put the engine
in like a year. Yeah.
Are we talking about what we want them to do? What we think?
Either or. I mean, just clarify.
Well, what I think they will do is nothing. I think because let's be honest, like Metroid is not as big as a lot of people think. Like I was so disappointed. Like when Samus Returns
Poor
came out,
Black Bond.
Samus Returns, like that was such a good remake on the 3DS. It's such a good game, and this is the moment where the Metroid fans should have been there because it's worth all of that. And like the game sold pretty bad, so I think Nintendo's thinking, like that didn't do too well, like the backlash from Federation Force. I think Nintendo is thinking, okay, we got to do this now, right in one go. What I want them to do is like, and what I would hope is like, I don't need a Metroid Prime trilogy HD like upgrade thing. I would prefer like they do just Metroid Prime 1, the first one, and like actually like rebuild it. Like a Wind Waker idea, where they don't just like make it sharper, where they just fucking boost the shit out of just that game. Instead of putting like less effort into the trilogy, put like a lot of effort into just the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I can't deny that logic.
And add Prime 2's multiplayer.
If they're gonna do a trilogy, yeah, they're probably not gonna be able to do as much. But because out of all three of them, Metroid Prime is the only one I'd really want to replay again. So
I don't know. If they redo all the assets for 3, I'd run through that again. There were some scenes in there that looked really good.
Prime was the shocker one that was the most played. Most memorable. And it was the easiest one.
I have several reasons for it. Like you all know, I don't like 2. I like 3. I don't think 3 is a bad game. I think 1 is one of the greatest games ever. But if you just do one game, I think it's a lot easier to, in the years, get the hype up for the next game. I think it's a lot easier to just make the first game like semi-incredible instead of just like doing all 3 like mediocre.
And let's be real here, they'll have enough time to do each one per year. And still have time before Prime 4 comes out.
Yeah, for example, they could even do that.
Yeah, that's not a bad trade-off. I think like really going in and doing a Master Chief Collection style version of Metroid Prime 1 only, and maybe trying to do some multiplayer, that would be nice. Maybe do some Prime Hunter style multiplayer in there. That'd be cool.
Because here's the thing, like what you said, if they would do that with the first game and they see it sells well, they literally have everything there to just make the second one a lot faster after that.
And they can't look at Metroid: Samus Return sales and scoff at them because again, that game came out way too late. Most people had moved on from 3DS at that point.
Because the Switch was the hottest thing out, and now you're releasing a 2D Metroid game that people. It sucks, like I said, that it was. I didn't love the concept.
It would have done a lot better in 2016.
Yeah, I mean, that's speculation, but I feel like it's pretty safe bet that it would have done way better. And that game didn't get much promotion either. It showed it off at E3. It came out a couple months later, and maybe that worked for some games, but I think for that game, I don't know why they felt that was the best way to market it.
It's such a great game. It has like one of the best 3D on the 3DS on top of it. It was such a good game.
So, I'd be a little bit more lenient of a 3DS game getting ported to Switch because there's a lot more improvements that can be made with the visuals and stuff. You know, it's not just basically 720p to 1080. Like, I would be curious to see, hopefully more than Capcom did with the Monster Hunter game from 3DS to Switch. I'd hope to see, like, for a 2D style game like that, like, they could really be curious to see what they would do. I probably wouldn't buy it just because I already have it, but and then like a Super Metroid, someone said a Super Metroid HD. I mean, the game still looks good. The pixel art still looks good. I don't need them to remake that.
I don't really need that either. I saw, we all saw a few years ago where somebody did like some.
Yeah. But Super Metroid didn't really. It stands the test of time still. Like,
I would still play it the way it is and have a blast with it. So
32 megabits of power.
Yeah. But yeah, I got to give props to Nintendo though for eating the pride and transparency and just letting us know, hey, this game wasn't working out. We're starting from scratch. Like, holy shit! I don't think I could ever remember a game studio developer, publisher ever admitting that, other than
it should have been Bethesda with every release.
Yeah, the Bloodstain guy was like, we're finding a new team. They didn't say start from scratch. I still think if that game even comes out this year, it's going to be worse than Mighty Number 9 situation, but that's a separate issue. But that's the only other game I can think of where someone like openly was like, yeah, we're switching teams.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about it. It took us years to even learn about the Project Hammer situation. Like, we just learned about that a few years ago, and that was not even a top tier like franchise. This is Metroid. And
it would have been great to hear that for Project Cars too.
Ooh.
So, just real quick, how excited are you to find out Retro Studios is making the new game versus this unknown team of who knows what's making it? Because I feel pretty good, even though it's not the same Retro that made the first, the trilogy, but I still feel like it's in good.
They have all the info. They have all.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say it's the same for that reason. They have all the project data, and like the lead artist isn't there, but the majority of the 3D artists are there. So, as far as like polygons and all the other type of stuff, that will be there. And as far as how the design and all that looks, like, I mean, as long as you can make it look as good as it needs to look, it doesn't. I don't care what the artist's vision is and how the textures look. To be honest with you, as long as they're sharp. So Metroid is going to be Metroid. I'm pretty sure Nintendo will oversee, and they want Samus and they want all the space pirates to look a certain way. So I don't think they're going to fuck that up, to be honest with you. So
and I'm not
worried about that.
Real quick, did anybody? I forget who linked it. It was on Twitter or something. The original review of the original Prime game on GameCube, and it was two guys. This Tommy, I think Retro or somebody linked that.
Rico.
I'm not sure. It was like a TV show.
Tommy Tallarico. Yeah.
Electric they re-uploaded it on this other channel. But this guy was just. I'll link it for people in the chat. This guy gave it a 7.5. He was complaining about the dumbest shit, and it was like
Rico, man.
He's not a Nintendo fan, and he's mostly a sound guy. So he's not.
And the other guy's the good cop, and
I could not stand. I couldn't even make it through that review.
I used to love that show because of the arguing they would go back and forth.
Format just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I can't think of the other guy's name. What was the other guy's name?
He's still doing it. He still does exploit.
He's on the EPN, something EPN network.
So he was the gamer, and Tommy Tallarico was the developer. And he only developed like sound in games though.
Yeah.
So you could tell just listening to them talk to each other.
Yeah, that's it's crazy that someone could play that game, and the complaints he was making, like, really? He's like, it's an ugly game.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's one of the best looking games that generation, like just from a technical standpoint.
Polygons for days, son.
I remember screaming at my TV at him on.
And I'm not the other guy has a channel out, and he made
Victor Lucas. That's his name.
Victor Lucas.
I
was subscribed for a while. Then he made a video about game series that need the God of War treatment, and Metroid was one of them. And then I forget the other. And I'm like, no, not every game needs to be a one camera angle. Like, change the franchise away from what it's known for. Like, I unsubbed him that minute.
If you do something like that, though, do that just to make it third person. But you still, when you aim, it should be like extremely over the shoulder. And when you do your space jump and all that, it still zooms out and goes third person. Far away.
There's enough third person in Metroid.
If it stays gears the whole time, nobody wants that.
No, I don't want to see Samus's back.
No,
not like that.
I don't want to have to walk up to a wall and press A for climb.
No, thank you.
Climb. Because Samus she's pretty agile in her cutscenes. I should be able to easily navigate environments and stuff. So do you think we'll ever see what the Metroid Prime 4 that they just canceled the version of it?
In about 20 years.
Somebody.
That's one thing. I'm so excited to see that. I'm so excited to hear about that. The canceled. This is technically we're gonna get the Metroid Prime 4 too. So I want to
can't wait to see that on Did You Know? That's what I'm waiting on.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm very excited to hear about it. To be honest,
I'd love to see something.
I'm gonna stick with my easy answer. Like I said, I don't think they were far enough to show even anything.
Yeah, but they're obviously
they're going to release it in 2019. How you gonna say that?
The stuff they had was like concept art, maybe, game design plans.
They start that before they even start making the game.
Yeah, you're out of your fucking mind, Retro. That's insane. I don't even care, Retro. You're out of your motherfucking mind.
I'll say this.
You don't think they had anything but beyond concept art? I mean,
these motherfuckers.
Nintendo is the same.
I'm canceling this shit because of some pictures, yo.
Retro really tried to make himself.
I'm fucking dead.
Nintendo is the same publisher where Star Fox 2 is.
I honestly think they had, I think like that's what they had, stuff like concept art, IDs. I think they had like I don't know how you call it. I'm not a tech guy. Like there's a wireframe ID, like in England now. In England, they have a museum, a video game museum. They have Splatoon. They have Splatoon there in the museum. They have videos there of like the pre-concept of Splatoon, where you had like the level design, and the characters weren't even something. Yeah, the character was literally like a cube that was moving around.
Well, that's how they make all their games.
I think on that level is where Metroid was, and from that point, Nintendo was. This is becoming something we do not think the fans would like, and I seriously think like on that level is where Metroid was.
Because you previously in 2019.
Retro, listen. I respect you. You a cool dude, but I'm gonna tell you this as honestly and openly as I can. Shut the fuck up.
Oh my god.
You out of your goddamn mind.
Yeah, the difference between Splatoon was they made that to show to the higher ups that this is the concept.
They had the proven idea.
A year later, I guarantee you they had Inklings running around a map, like when it was.
Yeah, but I don't think that year later was here yet for Metroid.
They were already after a year and a half of announcing that game.
Yeah,
they
had environments. They had 3D gameplay concepts.
Nintendo not only should have fired Ben enough, they should fire themselves if that was the case.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is we really don't know where it was, but
I know,
but it was further along than that, though.
But anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. And it's been an interesting Sorry for all the negative. We had a couple people unsub earlier up in the chat because of the negativity. Because apparently,
did they say unsub or you saw the unsub?
Yeah, they said they unsubbed. So
I mean, they can pour that salt on popcorn, man.
And I said bye.
Out the herd.
I said bye.
Point. That's because we don't spoon feed you the same shit as all those thumbnail guys, you know? Like, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna throw out a Kratos beard and pretend like I love pork.
That is so unnecessary, yo.
That I love ports, and I'm happy Nintendo's gouging their consumers and making tons of money. Like, that's just never been me for any company I've ever liked. So, sorry.
I think the proof in that is how many of the Wii U ports we collectively bought. I think we come to like 3 or some shit, you know, out of the possibility of like 50.
Okay, Mario Kart 8. Terrell, what'd you buy? Pokken?
Nothing. No, I didn't buy Pokken.
You didn't buy Pokken?
I don't have anything because I'm not the problem when it comes to that shit.
Oh,
did anybody buy anything other than Mario Kart 8?
I have Mario Kart 8. It's the only one.
No, I just have Mario Kart.
Only one game out of all of these.
Same here. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
So, and that's the reason we're not getting Mario Kart 9. We're the reason.
You were the guys that were so fucking excited. Y'all wanted a Mario Kart 9.
Look, man,
and you
that
fucked
bundle, and I needed one more dock in the house.
Listen. I'm not even a Mario Kart fan like that, and I wanted to help you by not buying that game. You wouldn't let me help you.
No,
I was just trying to help you.
I knew it was it. That was it. It was done.
We don't buy it, and it still stands at 11 million units. So it wouldn't have hurt one bit.
Hey, listen. That's what the person says after they've already fucked up. I would hear no excuse.
Just saying though.
According to that report I saw, though, saying that it's up to 15 now after the official.
Yeah, after Christmas.
After that December.
Oh Lord,
God.
So you gotta imagine they sold at least 4 million of those bundle consoles.
No, that's it. It sold 14 million point 997.
And I'm sure Nintendo's got a chance now to hit their 20 million. They didn't.
Yeah.
They said that's still their target. I don't know what it's at. We made guesses, and I haven't written down somewhere what we.
Doo-doo shit to me. I don't care about the sale. If the sales bring something that I'm excited about.
It brings something for those Sony fans because they are salty right now.
Don't forget, guys.
that is pretty entertaining.
Switch sales means more games.
Well, I mean, in theory, it does.
That's what they say. That's what they say when it works for them.
No, but realistically, it does because at the end of the day, you didn't put that many games on a dying console. You'll put games on a console that sells gangbusters.
I said that from the beginning. Yeah.
So I mean, it's good that it's selling. I can understand Juice's indifference towards it because at the end of the day, if I ain't got nothing to play, the fuck do I care if it's selling well?
That was my concept in 2014, and I'm like, what are we playing on PlayStation 4? Why are there like 25 of these? So 25 million sold.
In Juice's case, it would have been you be happy about the sales when you have Bayonetta 3 in your hand, when you had Metroid Prime 4 in your hand. You know, you be happy when you got the game that correlated with the sales that justified or some shit.
And I can't
play sales. I can't play that game.
Nintendo showed us even on a dying system, they're still going to put quality games for out. So I guess really the Switch sales really just guaranteed more third-party games, more indie games, more shovelware games. That's more,
you say that, but I mean, think about it. Earlier in the podcast, you said if they put Resident Evil 2 remake on the Switch, you would have bought it there. So if we get more of that, that's not necessarily a bad thing either, I guess.
No.
You already bought it on
it doesn't. I don't think it means more Nintendo first-party games because of the Switch. I mean, maybe it's gonna be more than the Wii U, but as far as like
that's what I mean. More Nintendo first-party game. That's what I want it to mean.
Yeah, that's
honestly, it can mean both. Realistically,
yeah. Well, it's already meant the other one. I just
because realistically, if the console is selling, Nintendo's like, well, there's no point in not putting games on this thing. So fuck it. Well, that's we got a few other IPs, and in that giant barrel that we never use. Just fucking just grab some IPs and use and make some fucking games.
But
now they're too busy making ports. But ports don't affect new games.
Well, and to be fair, And to be fair, they could just be using the ports to pad out the time while they're making the new games.
But that's just speculation.
But that's all. But that's theory.
They're always making these games. I mean, they supported 2 systems since the Game Boy was out with the Super NES. Like they've been supporting.
Had ports, and they didn't need them because they had backwards compatibility.
They've been supporting 2 systems. Now they have 1, and that's just been my point this whole time. Is like you're only supporting 1 system now. So where are the games? So hopefully,
well, most people said the argument was that they were lopsided then anyway. People said they were focusing too much on 3DS,
but they still both got.
Yeah, so what the hell are they supposed to do?
And most people, I mean, I'm just saying that's what people's argument was back then. It was like, oh, you're only focusing on fucking 3DS anyway, because they kept hearing more cool shit for 3DS than they did for Wii U. Not saying Wii U didn't get into games, but you'd be lying if 2012, no, if 2013 was a pretty janky fucking year where you got like that Lego game in the early year, and then you had this huge gap until the holidays hit, and then you got all the other fucking games.
Man, we had Game and Wario and
yeah, exactly. A bunch of fuck shit.
But at the same time, that last quarter of 2013 had some heavy hitters, and the 3DS had heavy hitters with like. I don't know if it was X and Y that year.
Yeah, X and Y was that year.
They had a Link Between Worlds, so they got the studio to be putting out games. So
yeah, it's just their pacing is what's fucking them up. It's how consistently fast they can put out quality content.
Yoshi better be good. I'm all right.
I mean, while we were, it's so funny though because we were comparing and saying that was so bad about Wii U. But everybody completely ignored the exact same problem that was happening on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. Like they had nothing for the first.
Oh, that's what was pissing me off. You heard all this dog shit talking about the Wii U, but no one fucking wanted to talk about the fact that 2 years into the PlayStation 4,
I played Resogun for 2 years.
The only noteworthy games you had was Infamous.
Infamous and Resogun. That's what I played for 2 years.
I think you had. I think Knack was out, but that's Knack, so we don't talk about Knack like that.
Uncharted came out in
Killzone.
First two and a half
Killzone, I think, was the other one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I got like Uncharted Collection and Uncharted 4. I don't remember what year that was. Was it at 2014?
Yeah, like people. Ironically enough, I would say PS4 went through a similar situation that
But it had third-party games.
Yeah, that Wii U did, where it kind of like coasted on third party for a little while. Yeah. The difference is it had the power in the system to justify the third. Yeah,
but really,
and they were there for Wii U, but only until the middle of 2013. So after that, it was like Madden. Nope, not happening.
Yeah, we got it for like a year, and that was bad.
Yeah. And I will say, overall, the first 2 years of the Switch has been way better from an exclusive standpoint than like the PS4 and Xbox One. I mean, it's light years better, but year 2 is looking a lot like year 1 and 2 of the PS4 by itself. Yeah. So anyway.
But if we get all the first party, or at least a good chunk of the first party that we're supposedly getting, 2019 to me will make up for that.
2019 looks better.
If we get what they're promising, then we should be fine.
And more is going to be
and more is cool. I'm just saying. I'm being realistic, Robert.
Well, let's look at.
I'm being realistic.
So Yoshi, Fire Emblem,
Animal
Crossing, mainline Pokemon, Luigi's Mansion,
Metroid Prime 4. Oh wait,
no,
I think
salt in that wound.
I think the first part like, we can't
get one because
Bayonetta's still up in the air because
we have no idea.
Oh, we got
I'm gonna be honest. I see Bayonetta 3 appear in this year before I see Fire Emblem, because when I saw the trailer from last year or when that was, I was like, I don't know if we're actually gonna. They delayed it once already, and I don't know if it's far enough yet that we're actually getting it this year.
We'll find out in.
What do you mean? You're talking about delaying Fire Emblem, or
yeah?
You've seen so much more on Fire Emblem than you have Bayonetta. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, but exactly. But
plus they had Fire Emblem in English, and that rarely.
That's probably your own rule.
But Fire Emblem, they didn't state yet. Like, you know, it was delayed once already. We saw this weird little section gameplay. Like, I think with like Fire Emblem and what they did with Metroid, you know, like I think a lot of the shit with the Switch, the way they're trying to push it, is by showing a lot of shit way too soon, and I don't know. Like
no,
I
said, ironically enough, I would say that was more of a problem on Wii U than it was on.
Yeah, I think Fire Emblem was slated as a 2018 game.
It was slated as a 2018
game. 2018 game.
Like Yoshi is done.
Yeah,
Yoshi's
I
done.
heard there's been rumors that Yoshi's been done since December. Actually,
yeah, last year.
There's been rumors that the Yoshi was done a while ago, and the Metroid Prime thing kind of fucked up what they were going to do.
Yeah, I think Yoshi being in March is just a spacing release date for spacing issues, because I think your Fire Emblems or an Animal Crossing could be May or June.
And it's not gonna, don't forget.
So, but here's the thing: if it's gonna be in May or June, I would expect some type of information on it, like in February.
Well,
which I think
apparently they're gonna do at least one first-party title per quarter. So
I think Animal Crossing is gonna be this year's holiday title.
I hope
Pokemon.
I think it'll be like a summer. I think it'll be a summer.
One of these games is coming out in quarter 2, so
if I had to take a bet, I think Fire Emblem would be next, and then Animal Crossing would be the summer game.
I think it could be. I think it could either be like June or June to September, one of those.
Because I know Pokemon's going to be the holiday game. I know that already.
I think Pokemon would be like when we got like Mario Odyssey, that kind of time slot. I honestly believe Animal Crossing, like I don't know, between Animal Crossing and Pokemon is really hard, I guess, but they both because I think a lot of people who want Pokemon, I think more people who want to play Pokemon already own a Switch than people who want to play Animal Crossing. Like, I think the amount of people who buy just a thing for Animal Crossing, that audience is a lot larger, so I feel it's more intelligent to launch that closer near Christmas.
Animal Crossing moves some units though on 3DS
though. Here's the thing though, because of the nature of Animal Crossing, the kind of game it is, Animal Crossing is a game that I almost argue can do well almost in any situation.
Yeah, it sold real well on 3DS.
Yeah, I mean, for God's sake, they updated it in 2016, and the game was already out for like 4 years. Like,
yeah, I'd be shocked if Fire Emblem or Animal Crossing isn't out by June. One of those two.
I think Animal Crossing might be out somewhere around June to July. Fire Emblem will probably be out around like May or April.
I hope you guys are right. You know, I'm definitely on your side with this. I need that shit.
New Leaf sold almost 12 million units.
People don't know because for me the drop's longer because I don't really care about getting Yoshi. So like Fire Emblem is my next Switch game. Already,
Pokemon is going to be the only holiday title. Either not every Nintendo fan is a Pokemon fan. I think there's
there's been ideas
that they got to have more than Pokemon for the holiday.
You say that.
So what do they do with Daemon X Machina though? Because it just seems to me like they're not marketing that game.
That's gonna be
I think that might be another June.
April.
Is that gonna be the summer game?
I think that'll be in the summer.
That's not gonna be a big.
No, I don't think it's gonna be. No. Just I'm not saying it's the only game. I'm just saying it will be a summer game. That's my thought process.
Yeah, but I will. Now I'm thinking about it though. Animal Crossing's big enough. They might make that like in the late November, early December Smash slot. Because I mean, look how it worked out for Smash. And Nintendo, they don't. That's the other thing we're forgetting. But they do like to when things work. They do.
That's also remember we got DLC coming out for Smash all this year. I'm assuming Piranha Plant probably being next month if I had to take a guess.
It has to be next month.
If I had to take a guess, Piranha Plant's probably next month.
Well, they already showed.
They already set the date for Piranha Plant.
Amiibo's like February something. So
yeah, and then like you got Joker, which is probably in the next few months. I think they're gonna space out. They're probably going to be relying on DLC for some of these gap months. I wouldn't be surprised if February is a bunch of DLC.
So we forgot a game too, Town.
Oh yeah, that's Game Freak's other game, which I'm confused about. Why the fuck?
But is that even?
That could be an August, September.
That's the 2019 game. It looks, it's weird. It looked like it's one of those games. Look like it's almost already half done anyway. So that could easily be a early year game.
Yeah,
but you got to translate it though.
It's coming out in May. Like they just randomly say, "Hey, it's coming out in May."
Yeah, but don't do that because that's like Sushi Striker, where they kind of just dropped it and people went, "All right."
Don't forget about had time though.
Is Nintendo publishing the Final Fantasy re-releases?
Those are April.
No, I don't think
But
so.
is Nintendo publishing those or Square doing those?
I saw Square Enix on the box art. I don't know what that means.
I think Square might be doing those because they're not putting out anything else. They already got out
$50 goddamn dollars.
Hey, look, at least they're not 60.
Is everybody aware of the Fire Emblem Expo in Japan in like May 10th?
Yeah, I'm aware of
not.
but I doubt they would put anything out at May.
You don't think? I mean, are they gonna do a full
I would
deep dive into Fire Emblem Three Houses, or are they gonna save that for
highly doubt it. Fire Emblem Expo. Yeah, but I'll say Fire Emblem Expo usually involves like the card game they have in Japan and all that other shit.
Because I'm curious if Nintendo's gonna do a direct, they're not gonna release an Animal Crossing or a Fire Emblem or a Luigi's Mansion without.
That's the other game we forgot. Where the hell would you play
without like either an E3 or an individual direct? I mean, we haven't seen any real gameplay of Luigi, Animal Crossing, Pokemon.
We've seen some gameplay of Luigi, but
the trailer showed
like 10 seconds.
Looks like in-game stuff, but I'm saying I don't know that they would release any of those games without some kind of.
So would you take a bet
to put out a trailer like they did with the last trailer?
Would you take a bet that the direct, if we're gonna get a direct, it'll probably be in February?
March, because
I can't imagine it's in March. You tell me they're gonna tell people they're gonna show up
Smash last year.
They're gonna do a direct. But the March difference 31st.
is that Smash didn't come out like 20 something days later. I'm talking about like if you're gonna show off Yoshi and Yoshi comes out in like a month and a half.
Well, they've already shown all they want to show. That story trailer told me they're not.
So you think that they have nothing else they really want to show for Yoshi?
No, yeah, I agree.
They did like it's like 2 years in a row they've done a treehouse for it.
I don't believe that. I don't.
So
the way they've marketed Yoshi is so janky. I don't believe that's all they got to show for Yoshi.
Yeah, that story trailer's it. I think there'll be a launch trailer, and then
if I had to make a prediction, I think we're probably gonna get a direct in February.
Yep, and it's gonna have a lot of months.
So what's the big fall game? What's the November game? Is it Bayonetta?
It could be Luigi. Luigi could be a fall game.
Fall game?
No, wasn't Luigi early.
It was a summer. The sequel was a summer game.
No, but early 2019. I thought it was early 2019.
You could put it as like you could put it like somewhere between August and November. I'd probably say.
But they could even do like Pokemon and if Fire Emblem is ready, also Fire Emblem because like
you mean it's
in November though?
As a holiday game, you're saying for Fire Emblem?
Sorry, my thing was a bit laggy and shit. No, because I mean, remember they did like Fire Emblem Warriors and Mary Odyssey a week apart from each other. Nobody says November or whatever is gonna have only one game.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to partner with a third party for November. I'm wondering because I mean they came out of nowhere.
We also got to include the third parties because April's like that, where April has the Square Enix games and it has. Well, I don't know if Mortal Kombat's delayed for Switch or not, but if it is,
I think some third party game is going to have some stupid Nintendo shit in it, and that's going to be a November release. Just being real, like
that's a good description of it. Some stupid Nintendo shit,
but I mean it'll be something. I'm not saying that it's going to be bad. It's just like they did Starlink, and then a couple of years they did like they had Mario stuff inside the Tekken and launch for Wii U. Just something they do. They partner with third parties to do something like, hey, look, you got to scratch our back if that type of situation is going to happen. I think
Nintendo's
don't have anything.
Nintendo's got a 10 million seller coming out in November, probably when Pokemon.
With Pokemon, yeah.
Maybe they give you like a Mario hat for Scorpion.
I think December's the new, just like with movies now, everybody wants to release in December, and Aquaman's only going to cement that even more. I think with Smash's success, one of their big games is going to be early December. And I think
then they won't be Game of the Year.
I think it'll be Assassin's Creed. I think it'll be Animal Crossing in December.
They're fucking better now.
Fire Emblem in June. That's my call. But anyway, let's wrap this podcast up. One late topic there kind of pushed us over. So we're gonna skip the final thoughts and just say thanks everybody. The chat was very active today and lots of viewers, so appreciate that. hopefully we entertained you guys and gals, and we'll see you next week.